Yo guys, what is up? Moxsy on our Wonderlands video, and today is the day we've been waiting for. Today, Wonderlands revealed its endgame content, and oh my goodness, did they listen to feedback about Borderlands 3. It is launching out the gate with Chaos Dungeons or Chaos Chambers, which are randomized dungeons with randomized enemies, randomized bosses, rotating leaderboards, rotating featured dungeons, and so much more. Today we're going to break down everything you guys need to know. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, guys, let's get right into it. So I actually got the chance to sit down and talk with Gearbox devs about Tiny Tina's Wonderlands Endgame. So I'm going to share with you guys everything I learned from that conversation, as well as all of the information that they just posted on their website. So Wonderlands' Endgame is Chaos Chambers, at least at launch. Chaos Chambers are randomized challenge dungeons, and they work like this. So each run of a Chaos Chamber should take around 20 to 30 minutes to complete. Your path through the dungeon goes like this. There's 3 randomized dungeon rooms where you'll need to clear out a number of enemies before you can proceed, then a mini boss fight in each room, followed by 3 more dungeon rooms, and finally a full-on main boss fight as the grand finale. Each time you complete a room that isn't immediately before a boss fight, you'll open 2 portals that give you a degree of choice over what you'll encounter in the next room. You have 3 lives to make it to the end of the dungeon, lose all of them, and your run is a failure, but don't fret, you still get to keep any weapons or gear you picked up during the run. The Chaos Chambers have 60 different level layouts. So there's 60 different rooms, and when you go through it, it'll be a mix and match of different rooms of the total 60 to pull from. In addition to that, any enemy from the game can show up in these rooms. So you've got 60 different level layouts, which will have a random order of like 3 when you go through, and then random enemies in each of these dungeon rooms, and then random bosses or mini bosses. So like there's just going to be so much variety when running through these. It's going to be insane. As well as they mentioned that there's going to be explosive barrels, there's going to be traps, and sometimes even puzzles to solve. When you beat a Chaos Chamber, when you complete one, you earn moon orbs, which are an in-game currency that you can spend on the enchantment reroll station in Brighthoof. Yes, enchantments are back. If you did not know, they're like annoyance, but toned back significantly. And every time you use the enchant reroller, you'll be offered a random replacement for the enchantment effect on your gear, or the option to keep the one you've got. So they've improved on it from Borderlands 3, where it would just delete your current anoint and give you a new one. Now you can keep re-rolling, and you can pick the better one or keep with what you had already. When you start re-rolling, it starts out very cheap, but the more you re-roll on one certain piece of gear, the more expensive it gets. So moon orbs are an endgame currency that you receive by completing Chaos Chambers, but crystals are a new currency that you're going to collect during your Chaos Chamber runs. And there's a few different ways to get them. So for example, when you complete a room, there's going to be a dice that spawns that you can smash, and it'll give you a bunch of crystals. You can also do optional side objectives in the dungeon rooms. For example, you could protect a statue of Queen Buttstallion before it's defaced by baddies, or smash a statue of the Dragon Lord, or keep a sentient orb burning by feeding it the souls of slain enemies. There's going to be random side objectives in the Chaos Chamber rooms that you can do if you want to earn more crystals. So what do you actually do with these crystals? Now, there's a few different ways to spend them, and one of them is on blessings. Blessings are stackable and can be as straightforward as increased critical hit damage or ammo capacity, or they can completely change up your playstyle, like increases to melee attack speed and movement speed. Think of like the things that you could spend Iridium on in Assault on Dragon Keep that would give you like ammo regen. Blessings are going to be kind of like that. Now I want to read out this next part too. Blessings to your passive skills can also be imbued by Queen Buttstallion herself if you choose one of her portals at the end of an encounter. The 2 portals that spawn in when you've beaten a room come in 4 different varieties. A crystal die that rewards you with more crystals, Queen Buttstallion's favor via helpful blessing, a gear die that awards you new loot when you beat the encounter, and an added layer of challenge in the form of a new curse. The last one is perfect for those who like to live dangerously. And then let's talk about curses. So curses are the opposite of blessings. They are debuffs for you or boons for your enemies that last the entirety of the Chaos Chamber run and can make it much harder for you to survive. So curses are marked as easy, medium, or hard, and by taking on a curse, you'll be rewarded with extra crystals in exchange for the amped up difficulty. And curses, one of them, for example, that they say is Break It Up, which gives your enemies increased damage via higher firing rates and accuracy whenever they're near each other. Also, if you're a glutton for punishment, you can even spend some of your crystals before you enter a portal to make the next encounter an elite encounter, which makes the enemies in the next room much more difficult. In return, the loot they drop will be improved should you actually manage to make it through alive. During testing, I saw so many people playing the Chaos Chamber differently, especially in the way that they treat the crystal economy. Some players just can't help themselves and want to buy all the blessings they can find. Others don't use curses because they want an easier run. So there's going to be a lot of variety to your runs, in addition to the runs having variety in themselves. If you want to go to the max and push it really hard with a bunch of hard curses and a bunch of elite enemies, but if you beat it, you're going to be rewarded with so many crystals. And with all those crystals, you get to spend them at the very end of your run. So after you beat the final boss of your Chaos Chamber, there's going to be a bunch of rabbit statues with an icon representing each type of loot. For example, there'll be like a statue with SMGs and a statue with assault rifles, a statue with like rings and amulets, and you can use your crystals to feed the statues, and then they will spew out gear of that type. So if you're looking for a really good SMG or particular SMG, you can spend all your crystals on the SMG statue and try to get that. Your crystals, they don't carry over to the next run, so you have to spend all of them at the end of your run. And they said that this is a great way, if you're looking for some of the best loot in the game, is going to be coming from these statues. So you're going to be doing your runs. If you get enough crystals, maybe you can hit the SMG rabbit trophy statue thing like 10 times and get a bunch of really good SMGs from this. And I think that's so cool. The way that they're doing this, all of this just sounds so good. And the cherry on top to what sounds like, to me, the best endgame experience that a Borderlands game has ever launched with. Like, I'm so curious to what your guys' opinion are on this, because like it sounds so perfect to me, is cherry on top, ready for this? Featured Chaos Chambers. Every week there is going to be a new featured Chaos Chamber. So like, you know how all of these things are random and the curses are random and the parameters and the bosses, everything is random. Every week there's going to be a featured run that the devs will create that's going to have set enemies and set bosses and set curses, and you can run that multiple times. It's going to be the same for the victory screen and a leaderboard. So when you do the featured run, it'll show all your stats. It'll give you an end of screen, like your damage, your character, your skill tree, everything, and it'll tell you how you ranked up compared to the rest of the community with your character and with your build, and you'll be able to see who is running the fastest featured Chaos Chambers with what build and what character, and try to compete for bragging rights on the leaderboards for the Chaos Chambers. This just sounds incredible. Like, when they were explaining this to me over the phone, I couldn't believe it. It sounds so good. Like, everything sounds so good, and I'm really curious to what your guys' opinion are. I know that some of you may not like this, or this may not be your cup of tea, but let's give it a try, because it sounds like they're really reinventing and bringing fresh new ideas to the Borderlands series, and I'm so excited for this. Like, the randomized dungeons, the randomized loot, the way they're improving on re-rolling, the crystals to spend at the different ends, like how they've kind of reworked mayhem modifiers into these curses that you can pick and like get better rewards on harder curses with elite runs and random bosses. It just sounds like they've learned so much and heard so much from the community, and that is why I'm overjoyed for this game, and I cannot wait for it to launch. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you could tell how excited I am, because like, oh my god, this is nuts. And yeah, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Looking forward to March 25th. Bye, everyone. Peace.